Edie, can you clean this up?
I will try.
This is the Konesh. We've lost barriers. Our comm system is jammed. Can anyone hear this? We have death fighters incoming. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help. We have hull breaches. Life support failing.
Ron, the Konesh is getting swarmed by Geth fighters.
Damn it. Interceptors, divert to the Konesh. Thank you, Commander. If you hadn't enhanced that signal, we'd have lost the ship. The Geth recovered faster than we'd hoped. If it hadn't warned us, they could have wiped us out.
Sounds like you owe Legion an apology.
However advanced your friend is, it's still a Geth.
A Geth who just saved your fleet.
And I wish I could have known it better. But right now, we cannot afford trust. What do you need?
I'd like to know about your patrol fleet.
In peacetime, the patrol fleet managed navigation, internal security, and intership conflicts or crimes. Now, we mostly guard the heavy fleet's flank. It's mostly light frigates or fighters.
Tell me about the civilian fleet.
Our civilian ships? Admiral Corus commands them. It survived his crash landing on Rannoch. In peacetime, they made up the bulk of our fleet. Now, our strength would even give the Turians pause.
Tali said you had the largest fleet in the galaxy.
The Turians have more dreadnoughts. Their overall military force is larger than our heavy fleet by far. But before we began this war, we jury-rigged every Quarian ship in the flotilla for battle. Even our live ships have cannons.
Use what you've got.
Indeed. With the modifications, our live ship cannons are comparable to the main guns on a dreadnought.
Impressive.
They lack the armor of a real dreadnought, but they can back the heavy fleet formidably when needed.
What can you tell me about Admiral Geral's heavy fleet?
It was our main military force before the war, comprised of all Quarian vessels suited for sustained combat. It can't compare to the Turian forces, of course, but we have a number of heavy frigates and advanced fighter forces.
Which fleet does Admiral Zen command?
Special projects. It's not a fleet per se, just a few research vessels. Her technical breakthroughs have put us within striking distance of the homeworld.
You're not worried about her losing perspective, given her interest in the Geth?
If she can save our people, she can do whatever she wants.
I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you, Commander.
haven't heard any news about that Reaper base. Hopefully they'll give us a target soon.
How is it being back with the fleet?
Right now, it's exhausting. I'm an admiral in the middle of a war. I just want us to get out of this alive. Everything else can wait.
How did the war with the Geth get started anyway?
Admiral Zen developed a scanning countermeasure that interferes with Geth active scans. It's like a flashbang grenade. It effectively crippled the Geth ships in combat. My fleet couldn't pass up the chance to attack.
Could we use it to fight the Reapers?
It only works against the Geth, unfortunately. Their AI lets them use extremely detailed LADAR pings. Zen's countermeasure overwhelmed them with garbage data. And it's useless now that the Reapers have upgraded their processing power.
How is it being back with the fleet?
Right now, it's exhausting. I'm an admiral in the middle of a war. I just want us to get out of this alive. Everything else can wait.
So how did you end up back with your fleet, Tally?
When the war started, the Admiralty Board asked for my help. I had more recent contact with the Geth than most of my people. They hadn't filled the spot on the board left by my father. I was invited in. It's just a technicality. I'm far too young to be a real admiral.
Don't sell yourself short, Tally. The board needed your expertise. You needed the authority that comes with rank.
Talk to you later, Tally.
If you want to catch up in private, call me up to your cabin.
I know we need allies, but it's tough to only fight Geth when the Reapers have taken half the galaxy.
Without the fleet, we lose our supply lines. Lose your supply lines, you lose the war every time. Commander, we've got reports of trouble at a Turian fuel depot on Sione. I've updated the galaxy map.
Salcoris' escape pod?
Not yet. What's your status?
The civilian fleet has taken significant losses since Salcoris sacrificed his ship to destroy a Geth ground cannon. Searching for their lost admiral is the only thing keeping the captains from panicking.
What makes finding the Admiral a priority?
Despite opposing the invasion, he did an admirable job protecting our civilian ships. Without him, some of our non-combatants are planning to leave the flotilla. Picture the consequences, if you will.
They've lost a leader in a war they didn't want.
Their wants are immaterial. We are committed. Even Salcoris understood the civilian fleet's importance. The invasion would be stalled without a supply chain, after all.
I'll do what I can. Keep your civilians safe.
I make no promises. My own ships must be coordinated for our final strike on Rannoch.
I'm getting some static.
It appears Salcoris crashed within range of a Geth jamming tower. You must disable it. Contact me. Make sure to proceed with caution.
Zen? Admiral Zen?
It's been a long time since Admiral Chorus left a spaceship. Let's hope he's all right.
We'll see in a minute. Take us in to the tower.
We're taking fire. The Geth installed anti-aircraft guns beside the jamming tower.
We'll have to disable them on foot. Once the guns are gone, you take out the tower.
Right, Commander. Setting you down here.
My people have been in exile. Exiled for centuries. To be still. Standing here in the land of my ancestors.
Jamming towers, anti-aircraft guns, rockets? Geth must have been building up an army for a while.
They've had 3 centuries alone down here.
Then I guess we're lucky they're not all wearing nukes for backpacks.
Get!
okay, Commander?
I'm okay. Watch out for more mines.
Let's look at the gun's console. We should be able to disable it.
AA guns ahead.
One of us needs to take those AA guns offline.
Tally, you take the guns.
No problem.
Heads up! Gas!
Shut down the two by the tower.
Shepard, there's someone alive. It's okay. We're here.
You heard my message. Send out a distress call.
Radios are down. You a soldier?
Maintenance. Dorn hatched. I clean engine parts.
This place is filled with Geth. You should have hidden.
I thought I could buy the other civilians time. Fight some Geth. There were so many. First time I've even held a gun.
Don't move. We've got Medigel.
I've lost too much blood. Go. Look for the Admiral. Destroy that jamming tower. And you can radio him.
We'll find him, Dorn. I promise.
Please. Listen. The civilian fleet didn't want this war. If there's even a chance that Admiral Chorus can get us out alive. And my son. Tell him. Tell Jonah that his father made it to the homeworld.
We will. Rest well, Dornhast vas Rannoch.
Let's get to that tower.
Go shut that AA gun off.
Alright, that doesn't need translating.
Yep. Who do you want on the gun?
I want you on this, Tally.
Right.
The turret looks open for business, Commander. More gas!
Let's get the last one.
Cat, by the door!
should disable the gun, Shepard.
You're on it, James.
If you say so.
Almost got it.
Guns offline, Commander.
I'll signal the shuttle. Commander Shepard. Jordan didn't make it, Admiral.
He didn't? I see.
I'm coming in with a shuttle. Where are you?
My surviving crew found their way to a clearing. I'll upload their location.
Stay together. We'll meet you there.
No, the Geth have cut me off. I hear another wave approaching.
Give us your coordinates.
Leave me. My crew will soon be overrun.
So will you.
My people are non-combatants, Shepard. They'll be slaughtered. Rescue them!
Admiral, I need you leading the civilian fleet if we're going to end this fight.
Civilians? Our entire race took up arms for this insanity. It's too late for us.
It's only too late if you die down here.
You can't possibly think you can stop this war.
I don't know. What I do know is that I can't do it without your help.
Ancestors, forgive me. Uploading my coordinates.
We're coming.
Geth behind you! Get in cover!
Welcome aboard.
Shepard, my crew. Perhaps there's still time. Hello? This is Zalcoris. Does anyone copy? Hello?
We've got to go.
I pray they found comfort in the homeworld skies. Commander, unrest has spread further than I thought. You were right that I return.
Have you talked the civilian captains into staying?
Yes, they've regrouped into defensive positions around the fleet's core. If we hadn't stopped them from... Any aid I can offer is yours. After the Quarians drove the Geth straight into the Reaper's arms, I'd give anything to stop the madness of this war.
And that's why your people needed you back.
Of course. It's time we turned our attentions to those we can still save. Farewell, Shepard. Fly safely.
Commander, we've located the Reaper base transmitting the local signal.
Good.
And not a moment too soon. With the Reaper code upgrades, the Geth are tearing the fleet apart.
Once the signal is disabled, the Geth will pose no threat to Creator forces.
You sound conflicted.
While the old machines have unethical purposes, their upgrades have vastly improved our people. Observe.
A Geth processing signal. A single unit, I believe.
Correct. Now, 10 nearby units networked cooperatively. Now, a single Geth unit with the old machine upgrades.
That's a fully evolved AI.
Yes. We do not agree with the goals of the old machines, but we find this growth beautiful, indicative of life.
It is.
Commander!
Come on, Admiral. That's a living creature, no matter what platform it's running on.
And they will die when we destroy the base.
They allied with the Reapers.
To save themselves from you.
Maybe they don't have to die.
Just because this one appears friendly.
Well, it hasn't fired on a ship with me aboard it.
Commander, are you suggesting...
I'm not suggesting anything. All I'm saying is, maybe they don't all have to die.
It's a moot point until we take out that base. The surrounding area is heavily fortified, and they have placed jamming towers to prevent orbital targeting.
Sounds like we're going in on foot.
Admiral Zen developed a laser guidance system that can cut through the jamming. It's synced to the Normandy's targeting computer.
So the Normandy launches a precision strike at whatever target I have painted? That ought to do it. EDI, this work for you?
Yes, it should enable us to make a precision strike against the Reapers.
And anything else in our way?
The Geth will quickly reconfigure their jamming towers to neutralize this technology. You should not use it before reaching the base.
I've sent the coordinates for the Reaper base.
Are we clear to go?
That Geth fighter squadron is still tearing through the fleet.
Can you hold out?
If that fighter squadron isn't taken out, a lot of our ships won't make it. But we'll do what we can. This is your operation, Commander. If you want to strike now, you've got my support.
Commander,
I gave in to
Admiral
your
Hackett's
reckless
available
behavior
on Vidcom.
beforehand. The patrol fleet isn't moving.
We need to break their flanking attempt to buy our frigates time to make repairs.
And then you'll charge off again like last time.
This is different, Ron. Unless we give our ships time to rest, we're gonna lose them.
So pull them back.
If I withdraw now, the Geth will flank us, and we'll lose any room to maneuver. I need the patrol fleet.
I gave in to your reckless behavior beforehand. The patrol fleet isn't moving.
We need to break their flanking attempt to buy our frigates time to make repairs.
And then you'll charge off again like last time.
This is different, Ron.
Throwing more ships into that mess just puts more lives at risk, Admiral Garrel.
Fine. I'll pull back the heavy fleet. And when we're taking fire from both sides, those deaths are on your heads.
Thank you, Commander. It's difficult to keep him in line.
I'm ready to hit the Reaper base whenever you are, Shepard.
Talk to you later, Tally.
If you want to catch up in private, call me up to your cabin.
I just figured you'd be more sympathetic to someone joining Cerberus. You've never been big on aliens.
Yeah, I enlisted to kick ass, just like everyone else. I need a better reason than it has scales to go kill somebody.
Commander, Chief Engineer Adams would like to speak with you down in engineering.
And Cat 6 washouts?
For your shuttle being so stealthy and all, you sure do get shot at a lot.
Well, the UT-47A stealth systems only internalize heat and high-band emissions. So while few sensors can pick us up, our cover is blown as soon as someone looks up.
Time for an upgrade.
Most scanners and tracking systems don't operate in mid-range frequencies. Sure, maybe we've been shot at, but we haven't been shot down.
Yet. Lucky for us, you're almost as good a pilot as you think you are.
Well, yeah. There's that, too.
Commander, remember the problem I mentioned? About a core overload possibly venting into the engineering compartment? Edie and I have been brainstorming and comparing notes. I'm confident we can make the system safer. We just need a GX-12 thermal pipe. Unfortunately, we're cut off from Alliance supply chains. Could you keep an eye out for one the next time you're on the Citadel, Commander? I've got the specs right here.
I'll look for one next time we go to the Citadel.
Thanks, Commander.
Garrus mentioned something about you two having some fun next time you're on the Citadel. Don't get into trouble. Look at that galaxy map. Do you know how many strategy games are built from that interface?
You play strategy games?
A few.
Understood, Admiral Ron. We're almost at the server. Keep us posted. What's our status?
We remain undetected on encrypted Geth channels. Resistance is likely only within the server.
Within? It's that big?
You misunderstand. Direct virtual interface is necessary to extract Geth from the server. You must enter our consensus.
You want me to virtually interact with the Geth?
That's crazy. Shepard, you can't do this.
I'm not a machine. How do I go into a virtual world?
Your species has experimented with virtual interfaces. You saw this on Project Overlord.
I saw how it almost unleashed a rogue AI-human hybrid on the galaxy.
We have refined the interface they created and have equipment from Normandy to facilitate safe contact. We request your trust.
I have your back, Legion. Even if I don't quite understand why you need it.
You are an unknown. This is an advantage. Geth security is not adept at targeting organic thought processes. While we occupy the system's intrusion countermeasures, you will disable the squadrons by removing Geth from the server.
If it saves the live ships, we've got to try it.
Telemetry data predicts this operation has a high chance of success. There is little time. We will bypass security while you secure safe landing.
Wait, you're not going to... Let's set the shuttle down by the cliff.
This is it?
Yes. Hostile Geth fighter squadrons are networked to this server. Due to restricted resources, it is best if you connect alone.
Let's do it.
Initiating peer network integration. Proceed to docking port. Mapping to consensus. Remain still. Shepard Commander, access movement during an upload is discouraged. Shepard Commander, we acknowledge your integration into the server. We welcome you to our consensus.
What is this?
We've installed filters to allow you to make visual sense of the server's raw data. Your mind perceives our world as something familiar.
I wouldn't call this familiar. Where are you?
Here.
You look different.
We have made ourselves visually distinct for your convenience.
What about Geth already in here?
You will perceive Geth as surveillance footage, audio logs, sensor records. We do not require bodies, as our software communes. Our hardware is merely a tool. This is our true world. As we remove Geth, it will grow dark.
This is like wiping out a city, isn't it?
We have no choice in this matter. It is a question of survival. There are 2 communication nodes on the server. We must access them to disable the hostile Geth's fighters. We must protect your exit port, but you will not be alone. We will maintain contact and assist. Establishing connection to access point. Warning, connection blocked by infected code. Use our combat software to disrupt the infection.
I wondered what the gun was for.
This This foreign code is a manifestation of the old machine signal.
You're surprised the Reapers are all over your servers?
We did not anticipate such extensive infection.
Okay, I've got to ask. Why a gun?
We wish to provide familiar equipment.
Then thanks, I think.
Established. Proceed to the access point. Establishing connection to communication node. Error. Access denied.
Is the Reaper keeping you out?
Unknown. Please investigate. Warning, Reaper presence detected. Data cluster contains infected code. We require access to proceed.
What is this?
Data clusters contain historical data. Your connection permits streaming of information from our archives.
You really want to rename the VI networks?
Absolutely. The mobile hardware release deserves a little ceremony. Unit 01. What is the Keelish word for servant of the people?
The word is Geth, Creator Zahak.
Yes. Very good.
Ancestors, you fuss over it.
Weren't you here until midnight fixing 01 circuitry?
Well, it needed resoldering.
Wasn't that footage from the past? Why are the Quarians masked?
You process our memories by using your own. How many creators have you witnessed unmasked?
Good point.
You must disrupt the infection on this data cluster to continue. This data cluster contains information time-stamped 290 years ago. Creator, this unit detects no malfunctions. It is still capable of serving.
You see? It's ignoring all shutdown commands.
Please specify if it has failed assigned tasks. We will reprogram.
Well, let's take a look.
Creator, this unit is ready to serve. What has it done wrong? What?
Let's cut the audio.
You may proceed to the last data cluster. Accessing data cluster.
We've got escaped Geth! They're pinned!
Open fire!
One's going for a weapon!
So who won?
The platform arming itself was an agricultural unit. By opening fire on attacking creators, it saved simpler domestic Geth following it.
That looks a lot like the sniper rifle you used to carry.
It is an efficient model. Establishing connection with the remaining server node.
Hello, Commander. Are you there?
Shepard's working on shutting down the server, Admiral Ron. I can fill you in.
The guest squadrons have arrived, but something is amiss. We will continue to hold out as long as we can.
Legion, give me an update.
One node remains.
What's wrong?
Infection programs are increasing. We have restabilized. You must continue. Shepard Commander, the Reaper code has adapted. It can now self-replicate.
You mean it grows back?
Yes. However, disrupting vulnerable points in the infection may slow down its replication. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. We require access to this data cluster. Disrupt Reaper infection. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on the infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on the infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster. Target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. Point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on the infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on the infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on the infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slowly grow long enough to access the data cluster. Shuttle Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. long enough to access the data cluster. Target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow the propagation speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on the infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. vulnerable point of infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed. You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate. There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster. There is a vulnerable point on the infection leading to the data cluster. Disrupt the infection at this spot. It will slow regrowth long enough to access the data cluster.
Out of the way! You can't do this to them! I said step away from the geth! This is insane! We need the geth! You can't just destroy them for asking... Ugh. Time's up! Throw her in with the others.
Looks like the war wasn't popular with everyone.
We have kept records of these creators' sacrifices. They have largely been forgotten by their own people, but not by the geth. We cannot establish a connection without access to this data cluster.